So I said in the last essay where I wrote about seeing Hurricane Katrina in this little coffee shop that I know in a million ways what it means that I was shown that vision. And I guess I should probably tell you what some of the reasons are why I believe that I was shown that. First, I should say that I had not been reading that long, and I will explain in another video how I even came to be a reader, which was really not a professional decision that I made in and of myself. But at the time that I had that vision and told that woman about that, I think I had been reading for about 6 months. And so at that point, when I read for her, I maybe had 250 readings under my belt. Not that many at all. And in fact, when I read for her on the last of those 5 nights were the first time that I had ever sat down and just read where people gave me their hands and they were sitting across from me and I closed my eyes and went into the space. Before that, I had been doing a form of reading which is called a billet. And this is how the billet readings worked. Let's say somebody they wanted to have a party, throw a party. They might have 12 or 13 guests that they wanted to have to the party. And so they would write down the name of all of their guests on a sheet of paper, cut it up, fold it together, tape it closed, and then mail me all of those names. And I would sit down and do a meditation that took a very long time, write down all the information that I had been given, and then take all of those notes to the party along with these closed billets. At the party, the host would open up the names and then we'd match them with the notes. So I sat in meditation with somebody's name on a piece of paper or a number, didn't even know who it was, and went into a meditation state to receive all the information from them. And it's a pretty difficult way to read. It's definitely a challenge, and it makes you work your psychic muscles, your meditative muscles, really intensely. And so I had done maybe 100 or more of these readings in this form. The rest of the readings that I had done were for people over the phone where I had never met them, and so I had no information to go on. And so when I sat down in front of her, that was one of the first times, or the first month, where I had human beings actually in front of me. And I was actually more nervous about that than I had been about the other forms. And so like I said, I was very new when I was giving these readings, and I didn't know what to expect, and I certainly didn't expect to see Katrina. I would say that, if you just saw a hurricane, no big deal, but what I actually saw was Hurricane Katrina, and when I asked for it to be spelled out, it was. Ultimately, if you think about it, God knew what I was going to do with my whole life, every minute of it, forward and backward, when I was sitting in that chair. So I believe that I was being prepared for future work, and I was being prepared to understand how to receive that type of information. And let me just say that it's rare. It's very rare to hear something of that magnitude. I'm only seeing a couple of major earth changes and readings, and most of them have been on other continents, not even our own. So this isn't something that comes all the time, nor am I interested in receiving stuff like that all of the time. But, like I said, God knew what I was going to be doing with my life. I didn't. And so there's also this idea that people have that, people who read sit in some meditative state and trying to amass information and psychic hits, and that's just not the way I live my life. Mostly I go to the grocery store, I clean my house, I talk to my friends, I swim in my pool, talk to my friends, I watch videos on YouTube, and I meditate. But it isn't to receive information. I'm guided in my daily life because I yield to my intuition, and furthermore, I yield to God. So no matter what that is that I'm told to do, it's understood that I'm going to do it. And you have to be a servant to humanity, to be of value to humanity. And you have to learn how to take hate and how to take disparaging comments, and you have to learn how to have people look at you and view you as evil. I mean, I'm from a family of evangelical Christians, so believe me when I say what I do is not well accepted by the world. I know that it's not accepted sometimes by my own family, but I just don't care. And when I was shown the vision, which I will talk about later on in the week, I realized that one of the reasons why I was shown Katrina is so that I would have faith in my own understanding, and also so I suppose that I would have this story, which you can choose to believe or not, but I will tell you this, that I would never in my life put this video on YouTube for anybody to watch if it wasn't 100% true, because I understand what it means to lie about even the smallest increment of this story. And I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't do that to humanity, I wouldn't do it to myself, and I wouldn't do it to God, because I wouldn't want to live with that one right there. So it's 100% true. It absolutely happened. And there's no refuting it. Anyone who chooses to refute it, refutes it at their own, using their own ego and their own beliefs and their own structure. But it is true. And I believe, like I said, that I was shown this because I have to tell people about something bigger. And if nobody listens, that's fine. But I'm not willing to abdicate my responsibility. Now, I also realized that what came after that is what was part of the letting me know why I had seen this. And actually what happened was, after probably 6 to 7 months after Katrina happened, I ended up getting a string of calls that were all from people who had been in Katrina, and they were relocated all around the United States for different reasons. And so after this happened, I was reading for people that all had that aura, that energy, that stamp of something that had happened within the border of America. And so some of them were trying to find friends and trying to find new jobs, and they were separated from their families and they'd lost everything. And it's unbelievable to read for people who have had things like that happen to them. And of course, you know, I worked with them and I couldn't take my full fee. There was no way I could, given what they had been through. And I learned a lot from those readings. I learned that the human spirit is imbued with this energy that's about survival. And these people cared more about the survival of the people around them than they did themselves. And I learned what I think that I'm going to need to know for the future. And so this video is on YouTube, and that story is on YouTube, and you can listen to it. And like I said, in a couple days I'm going to sit down and tell you what it is that I've seen additionally that's coming. And it is in November of 2010. So there's some time to work on it, and I've been shown what it is that we can do to alter the course of history, hopefully, because it's big. And Katrina was big, and it's all but forgotten, and it never received the kind of attention it did. And so I read that story, and I make this video, and I send all my prayers out to the people that I talk to, and the people that I never met, and the Americans who live all around us, who understand more of what's coming for us than what's not. Thanks.